Good news. As a result of the US election, CNN have started laying off staff and MSNBC have lost a huge chunk of their audience. CNN, back in 2016, their election coverage had 13.3 million viewers. But at the most recent election, just a week ago, they went from 13.3 million viewers in 2016 to just 5 million viewers. Oof. Fox News, by comparison, had twice that many people tuning in.
That face is scary. That hair is horrible, man. This lady is the worst on the TV right now.
To their election coverage. It seems like people didn't want to watch an election coverage from people who'd spent 4 years lying to them. In fact, I suspect about half of the audience that did tune into CNN were people like me who just wanted to see how they were doing because we were concerned about their mental health as results started to come in. MSNBC primetime viewership has decreased by 54% in the days after the election, while Fox viewership for the same primetime slot has gone up 61%. Again, I can't imagine why people don't want to tune into MSNBC right now. I mean, who doesn't want to turn on the television and hear that you're racist and misogynist and watch TV hosts crying?
Here we go, y'all. So we have a dilemma here. The dilemma is that CNN, MSDNC are experiencing rating drops. This is the same thing that's happening on the YouTube streets as well. Like I mentioned before, I watched a video of David Pakman, who's a YouTuber, and he even has some type of paid subscription service. And he said, oh my gosh, he's got like 2 million subs, by the way, 2 million subscribers. He's like, I'm just trying to figure out one day, just drop 5,000 and we're just dropping more and more subscribers. And I called my other friends and I asked them if they're experiencing the same thing. And he said they are. So I think that there's a sweep happening across the media. And I think, number one, the legacy media itself, it's slowly dying, right? It's like the radio. It's like the radio was really popular at one point. You got all your information and your music from radio. And then, streaming came out and then you didn't care about that. And I think the same thing is happening with legacy media. I think people were, really on it, definitely during 2016. During 2020 when we were during, the vid times, right? It was a pandemic and people had to watch TV. There was nothing else to do. I think it was heightened. And I think they had a lot of people's attention. But I also think that after this election, I think a lot of people started to figure out, I don't want to keep listening to this. They lost, and they probably are done with it. People are moving over to alternative media to get their information. For example, let me get a drink of water real quick. People watch Joe Rogan not because Joe Rogan is political. They watch Joe Rogan because he's entertaining, he's interesting, and he's got a good thought process. And then when he talks about politics, he talks about politics in a way where it gets you to actually think a little bit more. And sometimes he may give something that he says, hey, this is my opinion and it's a strong opinion, but people can then at least walk away objectively from what he said. He's not coming on here to tell you, hey, even though I endorse Donald Trump, I'm not going to be two-sided about this. Right? They watch him because it's entertaining and he's also giving political commentary with it, right? When you watch CNN and even Fox News, to be objective, you're only getting one side of the story. And people want to be able to get the truth. I think people are seeking the truth. I used to watch CNN. I used to watch MSNBC, right? And it's all I was watching because, it was easy. It was on the channel. I flick it on and that was it. But of course, one day I woke up and I said, what they're talking about is a bunch of lies. And they say the same thing and they run the same segments over and over and over again about Donald Trump. It got monotonous. It just got annoying. And I think after the debate, after the election, people were done with politics. I think some people feel like they were lied to. Think about it. They were telling us in the polls on CNN and MSNBC, it was a tight race. This is lie number one. It was a tight race. The polls are showing it's a dead heat. They were showing Kamala Harris in all type of positive light, even though she was saying things back in 2019, and they were hiding all that information and just putting this in front of your face. And eventually what happened was the night came and she got embarrassed, and they're looking like, well, what the heck has happened? They have been lied to for this long. I see you, Cindy. They have been lied to for this long. And so now they're like, they're not watching it anymore, or they're turning into alternative media. They're looking into places like YouTube, places like Joe Rogan, right? We got to read this comment, right? We got to read this comment. You caught me live today. So Donald Trump divided the country using hate. Now we as Americans must stop listening to the lies spewing from his mouth and realize we are suffering. We are all Americans, and want the same things. The American dream. Don't keep talking about dividing the people. Talk about all of us as the United States. Well, the problem here is I would think that a lot of the division comes from the left stream media. They are the ones, and you have to think about this. They are the ones that constantly run segments about Donald Trump. They say his name about 3,000 times a day. They talk about everything about him and his life, and they don't talk about what he does in his policies and what he's done when he was in office. Everyone talks about Donald Trump on these stations. Donald Trump ran a campaign. He ran up against Joe Biden. He beat Joe Biden. He told you about Joe Biden. Democrats didn't listen. He ran up against Kamala Harris. He beats her. I would say a lot of the division comes from CNN, MSNBC, all the left-wing media stations. That's where the division comes from. Because I'm going to tell you this, I'm going to tell you why. Politics was not this toxic. Politics was very, hey, I'm voting for Al Gore. Hey, I'm voting for George Bush. Okay, this is why I like George Bush. This is why I like Al Gore. Okay, cool. Shake hands and walk away. They have demonized or tried to demonize Donald Trump. This is why when the left, when they hear someone's voting for Donald Trump, the first thing that they do is they call people a bunch of names, right? MAGA supporter, racist, this, blah, blah. But then when you talk about the left or the Democrats, oh, they don't have any names. Why have they chosen to demonize one man? What's going on, Ash Gaming?